We have a couple of questions that came in, and the first one is called house hacking or new Fannie Mae down payment rules for 2 to 4 unit family multifamily homes. It said that younger prospective buyers believe house hacking is very important in a prospective home purchase. What exactly is house hacking, and how does it relate to Fannie Mae's new down payment rules for 2 to 4 unit homes?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Of course, an old guy like me, when we were presented with this question, I had to sort of figure out what the heck is house hacking. Well, it's an interesting concept because I'm still learning what a hack is anyway. But turns out that surveys have been done, and particular generations, the millennials, Gen Z, I guess they've been asked about this, and a good majority of them believe that house hacking is an important part of home ownership. So, of course, what does house hacking mean? Well, what it means is that these prospective home buyers are looking at the scenario where they'll look to try to buy a home and then rent out some of the bedrooms, or if not the entire house, as a pathway to be able to more easily afford the home, by generating that additional rental income. And I actually see that more and more now when I'm confronted with a new prospective home buyer that is a first-time home buyer. A more common question we get now that we didn't used to get so much in the past was, well, if I buy a home and I'm trying to qualify, what if I rent out a room or two? Will that help me qualify? Well, in most cases, no. Border income cannot be used except under some very specific circumstances that most people don't meet. But the point is, it underscores the fact that the younger buyers are starting to think about ways, how can I get into home ownership, and what can I do to help soften the blow of that big payment? So again, millennials, Gen Z, they're thinking about, I want to get a home, and I'm thinking I'm going to rent out some of the rooms in order to get some income coming in to help me take care of that payment. Now, in the articles I've read about that, it kind of glosses over the fact that, well, you can't, as a first-time home buyer, buy a home with 3% down and then rent out the whole place. That's a different scenario. If you're going to buy a home and rent it out entirely, then that's an investment property loan. Your down payment's going to be a lot higher, et cetera. But what was interesting about this question that we got was it was just within the last couple of weeks, within less than a month ago, Fannie Mae announced a change in their guidelines for the purchase of 2 to 4 unit properties. That's duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. And I don't think that was an accident. In other words, what Fannie Mae is trying to do there is, recognizing that we do have this locked up housing market, trying to find more ways that the agency can help prospective buyers, in particular new home buyers, get into home ownership. They took the minimum down payment requirement for 2 to 4 unit properties and lowered it from 15 to 25% to 5%.
Wow.
The idea here is, serve the buyer who's, restricted on down payment funds, but who may still want to try to buy now. And in this case, this guideline does require you live in one of the units. But the idea is you can then rent the other units to help get that income coming in to help you offset that overall mortgage payment on the property. So, for example, you're a single person or a couple, you could look for a duplex. Buy that duplex with 5% down, not 15 or 25, and then we can use the projected rental income from the other unit, in terms of qualifying you. Now, there's some restrictions on that, but the point is, even if that doesn't help much with qualifying, and the borrower does qualify, they at least can, be assured that they're going to be able to rent out that other unit, get some income coming in, and get that mortgage payment down, the net mortgage payment down after you consider the rental income. Another case would be, a single person, young couple, maybe buy a duplex, and maybe they got another friend, another single person or couple that wants to buy. They buy together. And one person or couple lives in one unit, the other lives in the other unit. Again, between the two of them, they only have to come up with a 5% down payment. Triplex, same thing. You might buy one, live in one of the units, rent out the other two. Or maybe you got a buddy and you live in one unit, they live in the other, and then you rent out the third unit. And then again, of course, with the 4 units, same idea. And then of course people will say, well, do I really want to live next to my tenant? Well, of course, keep in mind you have some control over that because you get to screen your tenants and decide who's the best candidate. But in some cases, those tenants may be other family members, could, again, as I mentioned earlier, friends, et cetera. So you have some control over that. And as a first-time home purchase, I think it's a great way to segue into starting your portfolio of investment property. You can buy that duplex, triplex, fourplex, 5% down, live in one of the units for a while. At a later date, consider moving out of that. Then you're renting out the entire 2 to 4 unit property. And then you buy another home. Maybe that goes back to the traditional single family detached home. And here you go. You've got now your first real estate investment property that you should hang on to because it's going to appreciate over time. And then you'll have those tax benefits from having that investment property, that rental income. So to me, it's a great way to address a couple of issues there. And it's another pathway for people who are restricted on down payment or first-time home buyers to be able to get into home ownership and have that additional benefit of that rental income. So I think it's a great change in the guideline, and I think it directly addresses this housing hack concept that the millennials and the Gen Zs are thinking about.